Salvete omnes. So today we're continuing our read along of the Nāvigātiō Sancti Brendani Abbatis, or the Voyage of St. Brendan the Abbot. And in the previous chapter, they built the boat that they're going to use to take across the Atlantic to find the promised land of the saints. And in this chapter, they get some additional visitors. So, Caput quinque, Trēs Monachī, the three monks. Cumque ille solus statisit in littore et benedixit portum. So, and with that one, and that one refers to Brendan, who in the last chapter is commanding his monks, the 14 monks going with him, to get into the boat and is blessing them as they do it. So that one, having stood alone in the beach and having had blessed the ship, behold, and these are subjunctive pluperfect, so that's what's up with the ending there. And the reason they're in the subjunctive mood is they're in a cum circumstantial clause. So it's just following one of the Latin grammar rules. You don't have to worry tons about that when you're translating it, though. Just recognize that this is giving a condition under which the rest of the sentence happens. So, with that one, meaning Brendan, having stood alone in the shore and blessed the harbor, portum. Portum would be a door, portum is a harbor. Ecce, behold, tres fratres supervenerant de suo monasterio post illum. So, three brothers arrived from his monastery after him, who at once statim caeciderunt, they fell before the feet of the Holy Father, ante pedes sancti patres dicentes, saying, and note here, participle, but it's plural, so it's got the intes ending, so saying, they were saying, Pater, dimite nos ire tecum quo inturus est. So, Father, dimite is like give leave. So, demitere is typically to send away or to leave. What they're asking is they're basically saying give leave, give permission to us to go, ire, with you, to where you will travel. So ire is to go, iturus is the future participle of that, which combines with est. So to where you will go. Alioquin moriemur in iste loco fami et siti. Now, I found this one a little more difficult to understand when I first read through the Nāvigātiō. So what they're saying is like, otherwise we will die in this place from hunger and thirst, which kind of leaves two options. One, you could see it as perhaps they're like the last ones on the island or something, and they're going to run out of food or water. But that doesn't seem likely to me because like Brendan went to they've got a monastery that they ran out of to go find him. And it seems implausible that there's going to be a monastery that like lets a couple monks just kind of die outside. So it seems instead they're like threatening a hunger strike. Many commentators that I read saw it this way. I think the Dickinson commentary sees it that way. And I thought that as the most likely option. So they really want to go along. Decere vimus inem peregrinare diebus vitae nostri. So we have decided to sojourn during the days of our lives. And peregrinare is, I gloss it down here. To make a pilgrimage. It's a definite verb there. So we've decided to pilgrim during the days of our lives. Cum vir Dei vidicit irorum angustiam. So with the man of God, and the man of God here is St. Brendan, having seen angustium irorum. So angustium is like the narrowness, with the idea of like, oh, we're in a tight spot kind of thing. So he sees like their predicament, the predicament or the tight place of those ones. Paraecipit illis intrare navem. He ordered them, those ones, to enter the boat. And recall, Elis here is dative, because praekipere is one of those special verbs that takes the dative instead of the accusative. So St. Brendan tells the three people to get in the boat, saying, Fiat voluntas vestra, filiola, so let your will be, little sons. That's a diminutive of filius, or rather filii, so little sons. Et addidit, and he added, Scio quo modo vos vinistis. So I know, scio, how, quo modo, you have come. Iste frater bonum opus operatus est. So this brother, a good work, bonum opus, and opus there is neuter accusative to match bonum. So this brother, operatus est, will work a good work. Nam Deus preparavit aptissimum locum, because God has prepared, implied for him, a most apt location. Vobis autem, to you, however, preparavit, God has prepared deterrimum judicium, so he has prepared a very bad judgment. So immediately, we get basically a plot spoiler here. The Nāvigātiō is not super big on suspense, considering we already know what the Promised Land of the Saints looks like from chapter 1. So I'll go ahead and spoil it for you here. Of the three brothers, one of them, the one who's told that he does good works, is going to end up on the island of strong men, which is this island with a bunch of monks who they just sing all day. They sing psalms all day. So the good monk that joins late goes there. One of them is going to steal something in the next chapter, but he repents before he dies, and he's taken up to paradise. So he gets a bad judgment in that he, is struck and dead for theft, but he still goes to paradise. And then the other one gets swallowed alive in hell by means of jumping into a volcano. There is some other stories in the genre of kind of like these travelogues of sailing around the Atlantic that also have this idea of supernumeraries or extra travelers joining, that then they get into shenanigans, they run into trouble. So we see that kind of here, and I think symbolically these three extra monks, they serve a couple literary functions. One is that St. Brendan is portrayed in the Nāvigātiō as a very stable and competent leader. He's rarely scared, and he takes care of all his people. So to have a little extra, conflict and things in the narrative, it's kind of good for them to have these extra monks who join late, because then it's not like St. Brendan's losing his core people that he picked. It's these extra people that they picked up along the way. And then I think the other function here is perhaps this idea of those who come late to the kingdom, people who convert late in life, where it's the boat's almost ready to set sail, but these people, come running up and are very audacious, and they say, we want to go with you, so they're permitted to travel. So that is chapter 5.